Howdy my dudes, Random Fight Fan here, and I want to go over what is the best Tangletongue you can get. And so, this is the cheapest way that you can get just obnoxious amounts of power. This here is a ridiculously powerful spear, but there is a best. And so I guess the shortest answer is 2 sockets with 220 accuracy rating is the best if you are specifically an Amazon with penetrate. However, that is 4 ascendancy nodes, and Tangletongue makes it so that critical strikes just straight up does not matter. So if you come here and you take off all of those nodes, you can see when I come to my attacks, I'm still 100% critical hit chance. So this here is no longer really needed, and that begs the question, what is the best Tangletongue for everybody else? And I can tell you right now, it's not 2 sockets. 2 sockets isn't the best way to go. And I've gone ahead and I've done the math in Path of Building, and I've put it all together here. So first of all, we're starting off with the 220 accuracy rating, and we see that we have 2.3 million DPS with this current setup. It doesn't really matter what else is going in there. It's set up for the Amazon. Let's just switch it to the Ritualist. We can move it for whatever we would want there. It doesn't really matter too much. Let's just put some random stuff in here. There we go. Put in, I guess I don't have that on. Let's put on another ring. There we go. We're basically back to normal. We're at 2.3 million damage with the accuracy rating on there. As you can tell, that accuracy rating does absolutely nothing for the Ritualist, or the Deadeye for that matter. So what would be better? Logic would say going crit damage, and not 2 sockets, but corrupted crit damage on there. You can have up to 15% crit damage, but using one of those very expensive jewels brings you only to 2.5 million DPS. Those jewels there, you could have 2 of them, but they're only to 12%, but you can get corrupted 15% crit damage on the weapon for an extra 3% crit damage. And it obviously does work. It's doing pretty good, 2.5 million there from the 2.3 that we had. But that's not the best. You might think maybe I want huge increased elemental damage with attack, so you could get it corrupted, or else you could use 2 sockets to put the runes on. And it is a little bit more damage than the crit damage, but it's definitely not still the best. There is this though. You can get a really good flat lightning damage corrupted onto it with the lightning damage jewel, and it comes up for a ridiculously high amount of damage, specifically for the Ritualist and only for the Ritualist. It can be slightly less than getting that elemental damage. For the Deadeye though, it is massively, massively higher than getting elemental damage for attacks. The only reason why it's a little bit different on the Ritualist is because it's getting so much more effect out of the rings, and I have these rings with massive amounts of added damage onto it. And if you don't have this level of added damage with Ingenuity built and the Ritualist plus 25% gain from, it is much, much less. So if you were to come here for the Ranger Deadeye, which is what I believe to be probably the best setup for this, you'll see that having the Tangletongue with the lightning damage is actually the most. So 2.35 million versus with the lightning damage on versus a much less with the accuracy, obviously. And then with the increased elemental damage, it's about the same, surprisingly, but it is less than the lightning damage. The crit damage is just less. The reason why the crit damage is less, even though we have basically 100% crit chance, this here is a little bit low because it's just using this setup I have right now, not fully set up, but it's basically 100% crit damage and it's still less. And the reason for it is because we already have a monstrous amount of crit damage and we have less base damage to work with. We need that increased damage more than the multipliers on top. And then there's one more that is not being talked about in Path of Building, and you think it's lower damage right now because it's not fully telling the story. This is just with the one rune, but this is potentially the best out of all of them because if you were to take this configuration and say 30% more damage, well, that is just a mile further than the rest, and it's because you can get one rage on melee hit, or sorry, one rage on hit, not melee hit. That's every hit, and it's on your spear. That's incredible. It means you don't need to worry about getting another source of rage gen. It works with, well, it kind of works with Lightning Strike. It only procs once with Lightning Strike, but it works amazingly well with Stormlance, because every little shock that goes off, including the super rapid ones when it's doing the frenzy charged one, all give you rage. And then when you're poking with another ability, that gives you rage. Everything gives you rage. So if you're just wanting flat damage and you want to get rage somewhere else, the best way to go about it is to get corrupted lightning damage onto your Tangletongue, and you're going to be laughing. You're going to be rocking and rolling. You're going to be in a great state. And for that reason, I am practicing what I preach, and I got this bad boy. It's not all the way full lightning damage, but it is really, really good. And it gives me the base damage to multiply everything, and I'm excited to take use of this when I finally get my Deadeye leveled up, which will be happening pretty soon. I finally got a little bit of currency to continue making more currency, essentially. And I'll make a video about how to make currency later too, but I wanted to show you this. The best Tangletongue for damage for every class is going to be the added lightning damage corrupt with a lightning damage rune in there. For the ritualist, you can put increased elemental damage with the 2 sockets, so you can still stick with 2 sockets there. That's the only one that goes that way. But if you wanted to go Deadeye, it is with the lightning damage for sure. And the only other alternative that is very much so worthwhile, if you don't want to be Amazon with accuracy, is to get corrupted rage on there. It is fantastic, and I hope this helps you out. Either way, thank you, dudes. I'm Ryan Pipeman. If you enjoyed the video, like and sub, and if you didn't, don't. Either way, appreciate the hell out of you. See ya.